So basically, this is like a little ownership blog, just like I used to do. This Jeep has now 25,086 miles on it. So I wanted to do like a little ownership blog for these people who always ask me about like long-term reliability. You know, the reality of the situation is the Jeep SRT is the best product that FCA currently makes, and that includes Maserati, that includes Ferrari. The Jeep SRT is easily the best product they make. When you consider the fact that this thing fully loaded is, give or take, it's about $80,000, unless you get the televisions in the back, that makes it like 82. When you take into account that this thing's only $80,000 and you figure that on a typical finance term it's going to be $1,000 a month, and then you compare it to Maserati's more expensive Levante, or you compare it to like Alfa Romeo's more expensive Quadrifoglio when you have it fully optioned out, the Jeep SRT makes the most sense, because ultimately this is the thing that you can use all year long. You can have the power to spank little foreign cars off the light. You have the launch control, you've got the U-Connect, you got pretty much everything. And the Jeep SRT is easily the best product FCA makes. So I've got 25,000 miles, and despite all those people who try to talk smack about FCA reliability, I haven't had a single problem in 25,000 miles. Now, the only caveat I would say there is that at one point there was some side fender damage that caused like some ice wedging that I talked about last year, I think it was. But that cost about $200 to get fixed, because basically if you know somebody with a body shop, they could have charged you less. It depends on the labor, but for the most part the Jeep SRT has actually cost me less money than the Chrysler 300 SRT and the Dodge Charger Hellcat. The Dodge Charger Hellcat, you end up replacing tires almost twice as quickly as you would with the Chrysler 300 SRT. And the Chrysler 300 SRT, I was going through tires every 5,000, 6,000 miles. I was ending up with like no tread on it. And the Hellcats obviously have the same problem, especially when people sucker you into doing burnouts. But this Jeep SRT gets about 20,000 miles on a set of tires because it equally wears them down. And as long as you get your tire rotations, pretty much every other time you get an oil change, you probably go through about 2 oil changes and 1 tire rotation at that frequency. But what I love is the fact that this thing has all-wheel drive. I love the fact it's fully loaded. I love the fact that, people, when they see this one coming, they know exactly which model it is because of the LED lights that are in the bumper. So as you can see, New York City and part of the Northeast, we just had another snowstorm. We had another blizzard. Now today is March 20th, I think. 22nd. Today's March 22nd. So basically, we're really in spring now, and we're still having these snowstorms and blizzards. So most of New York is digging out. Traffic is bad. The city, yesterday they shut down most of the city. They didn't want people on the road if they were unnecessarily out. They didn't want that. So they told everybody basically to just stay home. They closed the schools. They closed most of the city down. They suspended garbage pickup, so forth and so on. So right now the city's digging out. And as you can see, it's a slushy, icy mess outside. And that's basically that. So you can see everybody trying to dig out. Fortunately for them, the slush is, fortunately, it's easy to move this stuff. It only took me about 15 minutes to shovel my driveway. It only took me about 15 minutes total. But this slush is, my ass is so hot. I gotta turn this thing down. This thing is on high. Let me turn that down. Turn that to low. Yeah, because I have to say, if you notice, my temperature controls are actually set to low. And the reason why is because these Jeep SRTs have like project heat. When it gets hot in this thing, it gets hot in this thing. I mean, it gets really, really, really hot. So, I'm headed on my way to Manhattan. But it gets extraordinarily hot in these things. So I have to turn my heat way down, especially like when you have it set to high. That's like higher than like 85 degrees. So I have to turn that damn thing down. So usually what I'll do is I'll turn it to about like 80 or a little less, and that's usually enough. So I'm here in snow mode. Right now I actually don't need snow mode because we don't have dense snow, so all you got to do is just turn that off. And then, it goes to tow mode. Let me turn it back to auto. Auto, yeah. Automatic is actually good enough for most conditions. What I've never seen is I've never actually seen this thing change from automatic to snow. Because basically what snow mode does is it locks out certain gears so the engine can't over rev and go faster than you should be going in the snow. But for the most part, auto mode seems to work in just about every situation, unless you're trying to get the highest shifts and throttle out of it. So then you have to turn to sport mode or track mode. This little truck. And then you notice that even with my mirrors partially covered up, I have that beeping sensor that lets you know about your blind spots, which is a great feature. All cars should have it. I've noticed a lot more cars are, getting it now. But I've absolutely been happy with the Jeep SRT. And there's people still asking, they're like, when are you going to get the Trackhawk? Well, I'm thinking they're going to redesign it. But for right now, with only 25,000 miles on this, it's like I'm completely, thoroughly happy with this Jeep right now. So probably maybe by, summer's end or something, maybe they'll have deals, maybe they'll have better lease options. There's a silver one just like mine. But the thing that pisses me off is the Trackhawk looks just like all the rest of them, but they want $2,000 for it. And never mind the fact that, oh shit, all that damn ice up there. All that ice up on the roof. Yeah, see, you got to be so careful because most people, it's like you clean off as much of the car as you can, but you always have a lot of ice left over, and if you do, that shit will slide down in front of you and block your view right at the moment of truth when you're about to hit a pedestrian. So you got to be so careful. But I have to say, 25,000 miles, everything's going great. And then because, and I said this, I noticed that there was a lot of attacks on my Honda Accord why it's not selling. And there were a lot of attacks from people on my Lincoln Continental why it's not selling. And I constantly said, it's because these things aren't bigger and they're not all-wheel drive, which ultimately is going to put people into crossovers and SUVs. When you're dealing with snow that deep, like you see this Maxima, when you're dealing with snow like this, people don't want to have to shovel. They want to be able to get in and out of parking spaces that they haven't shoveled yet. Now, this Jeep can easily slide right through that snow with no damage to its undercarriage at all because there's more than a foot of clearance under the front of this thing. So basically, you can slide right into parking spots that have not been prepped yet. And a lot of other people with these cars just can't do that because their car will get stuck. The problem is they have these front-wheel drive cars, so their cars, they don't have anything in the back pushing them. And there's another one just like mine. There's a silver one. There's another silver one. It's probably a Limited or a Laredo or something. But even at a distance, they know that I have a Jeep SRT. See, if I had a Trackhawk, you wouldn't even know it. I really think the FCA design team, they really dropped the ball. They really, really dropped the ball. They did not make something that forced me to just want to run out and buy it, especially at $2,000 a fucking month. It's like when $2,000 a month is like Bentley money, It's like, and most people would say, hey, if you're going to pay $2,000 a month, you should just get a Bentley, or a Mercedes S-Class or something. But, so this is New York. This is the casino, Resorts World Casino. They haven't dug out yet. This is Honda and Nissan. They have a lot of cars that are in their inventory and they keep them in there. A lot of this shit's not selling. The crossovers are selling just fine, but a lot of the rest of the shit's not selling. So that's that. Like, I'm enjoying reading through the comments, these idiots attacking me about the Honda Accord. Oh, yeah, you're so biased. How are you so biased? It's like, listen, morons, I wouldn't have been able to talk about how poorly that piece of shit is selling if it was actually selling, which it's not. So there's a reason for that. Oh, you're so biased. Why are you so biased? Whatever. So, this is just basically like a 10-minute video. So, I'm going to cut it off in about 30 seconds, make it an even 10 minutes. But, as you can see, look at this shit. Look at this snow and shit. That's how people, look at this. See, that's the reason why everybody's trying to get these crossovers now. These crossovers just make so much more sense. It doesn't make sense at this point to have a regular car. So basically the car itself has morphed into the crossover, and everybody would rather have a crossover. It just doesn't make sense. So that's just where we are.